Peace, Hotep, Assalamu alaikum, Shalom. This is Brother Kamal, and we are here with Brother Malik, Brother Saadique, and a very special guest, this brother named Shombay The Trainer.
What's going on, family?
Yes, sir. What's up, brother? How you doing?
All right, all right.
Peace.
I first met you, brother, I don't know how many years that was ago, but it was a Kwanzaa event that the brothers were having at the masjid at the cultural center, and it was a pleasure meeting you, and you conducted the whole Kwanzaa event, and I was very impressed by that. And from then,
What year was that?
Man, I could only guess. I would say approximately 7, 8 years ago. Yeah, I remember having a videotape of it too, somewhere. But yeah, so I was very impressed with that, and I was glad to meet you. And then I started seeing how you and the brothers were very big into fitness and working out and health. And I see most recently you on Facebook with new products, and that's very impressive as an entrepreneur. And so I would just like to welcome you, and this is like our first edition of the new Brothers Gonna Work It Out. And yeah, it's really about us all acting on all the philosophies and ideologies that we have studied and we come across, but it all means nothing if we don't act on it. And
Right.
So we thank you for being a beacon of light for that. And
Right.
I want to ask you, like, when did you come into consciousness? I guess that's my first question. When did you come into consciousness, Black consciousness?
Oh, okay. Well, I think I have it's interesting history with that. I actually have well, let me just put it like that. I have a proud history on that for myself, right? So my great grandmother was, I like to tell people this because I'm so proud of it. My great grandmother was actually a Black Cross nurse. If you know, the Black Cross nurses are the female members of the Marcus Garvey movement.
Yes, sir.
Right? She was a Garveyite, and my grandmother was one of the founding members of the UAM. The UAM, if you know, Automatics.
Right, United African Movement.
United African Movement, yes, sir.
Wow.
So back in the 80s, this is when he was still with Al Sharpton. So if you remember the big figures, we all of that, C. Vernon Mason, Al Sharpton, and Automatics.
Yes.
So before Al Sharpton started the National Action Network, there was the UAM, the United African Movement.
Right.
And my grandmother was one of the founding members of that organization. And Al Sharpton, Automatics was actually her attorney, because they used to be protesting and rallying and fighting for our rights, and they would get arrested often, and he would be there as well as with others to advocate on her defense and get her out of those situations.
Right.
So my grandmother used to bring me to the rallies and the protests, and so I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I moved to New Jersey later in my teenage years. So my grandmother used to take me to the rallies and the protests, and like I said, man, she was a Garveyite, and she introduced me to consciousness. But in my teenage years, I strayed away from that. I strayed away. Right. So probably in my young 20s, I came back. Right. Nice. So I was introduced to our culture and consciousness for as long as I can remember through my grandmother. But like I said, like many people do, even Muslim children and pastors' children, sometimes they stray away.
Right.
But then they come back. Hopefully,
Right.
We pray that they come back, right?
Right.
So that's pretty much my story. Yeah.
That reminds me of resurrection, the concept of resurrection. When you go astray and come back, I would say, like, I believe it's good when we make mistakes and learn from them, or when we fall and get back up You know, like Malcolm, that was one of my first lessons from Malcolm X, reading his books. It was so basic, like said, when you fall, get back up. And when we get back up, some people might think that we're arrogant or overconfident, but it's just that we're confident that if something happens again, that we know we can get back up. You know,
Right.
did Queen Afar, like, did you run into Queen Afar being that you were in Brooklyn?
Afua?
Yeah, Afar.
Well, that was later. That was all right. So like I said, probably in my early 20s, early to mid 20s, I, got back on the path, as we call it, right?
Right.
So I used to at that time we was in the Dead Prez music. And we used to go to the events, the lectures, the rallies and stuff like that. So there was organizations that I wanted to join. That's a whole nother story. There's a lot to say. But we ultimately decided to form our own organization around 2005. And the name of that organization was the Extended Black Family Movement. Okay. And before that, some years before that, I had met Brother Saadique. We used to see each other all the time. And at the time when Imam Pasha on Broadway had Zakia's, no, what was the name? It was New Africa Deli.
New Africa, yeah.
Yeah, New Africa Deli.
Right.
I used to go in there all the time. It's a real connection because I'll talk about later how I became plant-based, right? But before I was plant-based, I used to always go into New Africa Deli to hear the great conversation that was going on in there, as well as get a healthy meal. We used to get some the turkey burgers on the wheat bun that Imam Pasha used to make, and it was a healthy alternative to everything else that was going on in the community over there in Broadway. And Brother Saadique was a member of the masjid, and I used to see him all the time. And because we used to see each other out in other settings, we started to talk. And he was actually one of our early founding members of the Extended Black Family Movement.
Okay.
And that was 2004.
Oh, okay. All right. I just want to say that my stepfather, his name was Shaka Zulu Ramses. He was a Harlemite. He passed about 3 years ago, and he was in the UNIA under Carlos Cooks.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I had got a lot of consciousness from him, doing the best that he could, being that he wasn't my actual father. There's like a war going on for my consciousness. And my grandmother was a secretary for the NAACP in New York. So when you said the UNIA, that definitely rang a bell right there. Okay, so brothers, y'all have any questions for Brother Shombay at this point?
Yeah, like Shombay said, he's gonna get into the health conversation a little later. I don't want to be all over the place and everything, but I'll be patient with that. So once he get into that, but I can just say he was one of the main brothers that pushed me and my wife become vegetarian, which he's going to talk about probably a little later on and everything. But it's like ever since I became a vegetarian, it's like my whole body, my whole energies went to another level.
We could talk about that now, brother. Go ahead.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I didn't know you was a vegetarian.
Yeah. I think I've been a vegetarian almost like maybe 7 years now. You know what I mean? Me and my wife, man. You know what I mean? I mean, it was really hard giving up that bird, brother. You know what I mean? It was really hard giving up that baked chicken, man. But Shombay was the one that kind of like pushed me. I didn't jump into it right away because it's a process. You know what I mean? It's like you just don't stop eating meat overnight. You know what I mean? So it was a slowly process, man. You know what I mean? Now me and my wife don't even want to go near no chicken. You know what I mean?
Wow, that's good.
So he was one of the brothers that pushed me, man. So
okay.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
No, what you was gonna say?
Pretty much I was gonna say it seems like a thin line for me. I'll say personally, it seems like a thin line. Probably for a lot of people. I know people that went in and out of being
Right.
vegan or vegetarian, right?
Right.
So when you say, not you, but when someone gives advice and they say, well, take your time, don't jump into it, then it seems like it could be used as an excuse, like, well, I'm going to do it, and I cut down on this and I cut down on that, but that person might not ever really get to it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Well, the thing is, everyone has to walk their own path, and everyone um, stretches the parameters of their own limits, right?
Right.
So, like when Brother Saadique said that I was one of the people that pushed him, what he really means is I was one of the, and I'm not trying to play semantics, I was one of the people that influenced him.
Okay.
Because I never used to be on his back like, you should do it, you should do it, you should do it, you should do it, do it today, do it today.
Right.
So, and I just wanted to make that clear because that a lot of, but I used to mention it to him. I used to talk to him about it, or he used to see me doing it. And and oftentimes when people see that you're serious about something, that you stand on it and you're going to be consistent with certain things, then they start to take it seriously. Right. Because there's people out here that can say tons of things, from health advocacy to political advocacy to consciousness. But if you don't see them consistently walking that path over a period of time, you start to feel like, well, they wasn't really serious about it. So why should I be if they advocating it to me?
Right.
But the thing is, going back to what I was saying to you about everybody stretches the parameter of their own limits, is this. Some of the people that influenced me on this path didn't go as far as I went.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like that sometimes. You know what I'm saying, Brother Warner? It's like that sometimes.
That's right.
Someone may introduce you to the Bible, or introduce you to the Quran, or introduce you to some financial information, or introduce you to something that may totally change your life. And you may take that pass and run all the way to the end zone with it. And then you look back and that person may still be on the 20-yard line. You know what I mean?
True.
But that's okay. That's just how it goes sometimes.
Mm.
So, I say that just to say that we have to, a lot of things we know are good for us. We have to just commit to it and try to push it as far as we can push it for ourselves and our family. You know what I'm saying to you?
That's it.
Because people mostly know what's good for them. It's just utilizing the discipline or the dedication to be able to do it. And we're all fallible to an extent. So,
for me, this is just a layperson's excuse, maybe.
right.
I don't know what it is, or perception. I feel that if I live next door to a vegan restaurant,
Right.
I would be much better off. But when I try to do it on my own and it don't taste good and stuff like that, I'm like, forget that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I run back to some meat or whatever.
Right.
So
keep
so
going.
yeah, so basically I'm like, are they good recipes that you find and suggest that really taste good? Because
Well,
go ahead.
The thing starts with the mind, right? So the thing is this, one thing that I tell people all the time when they're trying to live this life is to educate themselves, right? So you pretty much have to indoctrinate yourself on what it is that you want to do. You have to brainwash and indoctrinate yourself, right? Just like American society indoctrinates us and brainwashes us with whatever it is, agenda that they're trying to push, right?
Yes, that's right.
So you have to make it up in your mind first, right? So what I usually tell people what I did, before I became plant-based, I was very sick, very sick. My immune system was compromised. I used to have a cold all the time. My back used to hurt. My head used to hurt. My stomach used to hurt. Everything, I would always be sick, right? And at the time, I thought I had something. I thought something was wrong with me. You know what I mean? Like the boogie monster caught me or something like that. I didn't know what was wrong with me, right? So I used to go to the doctor, and they used to say that I was okay, you fine. Which I'm very thankful that they said that to me, because if you know about the medical industry, you know that they can diagnose they very often diagnose false positives, right? So they'll say you have diabetes, or you have AIDS, or you have herpes, or you have something, when in actuality you don't have it. You know, the test gauge came out wrong. So that's what the medical industry calls false positives, right? Because it happens so much, right? So that's why people get second opinions, right? So you may go to the doctor and they may say you have one thing, but then you go to another doctor and they say, no, you don't have that, you have this, or you go to another one. That's why people get second and third opinions, because the prevalence of false positives is so high in the medical industry, right? So thankfully, they never gave me a false positive, because if they would have said I had anything, I would have believed it, right? And when I say had anything, I mean something that can get you up out of here. But what I did actually have was I was pre-diabetic and I had pre-hypertension, right? So that's pre-high blood pressure, pre-diabetes, right? So what I thought I had was much worse than that, even though that can eventually kill you. But my mind was wandering. So ultimately, I felt like I was 25 years old. I'm too young to be suffering from these degenerative diseases. It's something that I had to do. I had to make a change, but I didn't know what to do. So I had heard about vegetarianism, veganism, holistic. No. I can't say that. I had a friend who used to be an alcoholic, a brother, who ultimately joined the organization with me. And after a while, he stopped drinking. And I asked him, what caused him to stop drinking, giving up the bottle. And he said he became a vegetarian. And he said that he got into a lifestyle that I had never heard of before. And I asked him, what was that? And he was like, holistic health, right? And like I said, I had never heard that before. And he gave me a book. And when he gave me the book, I should have had the book already. When you go to a question, I'll get the book. So the book was by Laela Africa, Dr. Africa. It was called African Holistic Health. And when I read this book, it blew my mind. I had never seen anything like it. I had never heard anything like it. And it just amazed me. And then I read the book, from cover to cover. And then at that time, this was pretty much before YouTube and even Facebook. We wasn't on that Facebook that much. This is like 2004. But what we did have was internet radio, right? So I used to listen to internet radio shows, and I used to read articles, and I used to go on Google and find out about holistic health and vegetarianism. And the book was talking about herbs. So my point is, I was indoctrinating myself, right? I was educating myself and indoctrinating myself with the path I wanted to go into. You know what I mean? I was learning everything that I wanted to learn about where I wanted to go. And this in turn made me dislike, I used to love cheese. I began to hate cheese. You know what I'm saying? Because of the things that I read. And I'm just giving you an example. It's just like a Republican, they love Trump, and you may think Trump is the Antichrist, but because they've indoctrinated themselves with whatever rhetoric that appeals to them, you can't tell them anything about this stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So my advice to you or anybody else listening is you have to educate and almost indoctrinate yourself with the path in which you want to go. Learn everything that you can learn, study, read, watch videos. There's so much information out here with YouTube videos and Facebook and Instagram and books, and and you can actually still go to people. There's actually still people that you can go to, myself being one of them, that can help you with these paths.
Are there any, again, I'm coming from the same place.
That's good. That's good.
And that's because, like, if I'm eating some stuff that don't taste good to me, it makes it hard.
Okay, now let me tell you why you say it doesn't taste good.
Mm,
Because just like we indoctrinate our mind, we indoctrinate our palates, right?
right,
So in American society, Western society, most things are sugar based
right.
and salt based,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
right? So if it
Right.
doesn't have enough salt on it, you don't like it. We don't like it. And if it's not sweet, if it doesn't have enough sugar in it,
Mm-hmm.
we don't like it.
Yeah.
Right. So we have to, with me as a trainer or as a physical trainer, or even if you're a trainer at your job, you can be the supervisor, you're still training your subordinates, right?
Right.
So as a trainer, we have to retrain our palates,
Mm,
right? Because originally from God, there is no processed food. That's some
mm,
man-made stuff, meaning, food made in the laboratory.
mm,
So our palates are always going to want in reality, natural whole foods, fruits,
mm-hmm.
vegetables, right? That's why fruits are sweet, because
Right.
that's the natural sugar in it,
Right.
right? And certain things that we feel doesn't taste good is only because we're so much used to processed foods, which has tons of sugar and tons of salt in it, right? So that's really the hard part for most people. I'm not even going to, lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much change your palates, your taste
Mm-hmm.
buds, to not be so craving of
Mm-hmm.
sugar and salt. And
I
then, so
understand.
let me give you an example. I used to be a sugar maniac, right?
Mm-hmm.
If something didn't have enough sugar in it, I didn't like it, right? So I used to drink a small tea, like tea with milk used to be my thing, right? Tea with milk, and I used to
Mm-hmm.
drink 5 or 6 sugars
Mm-hmm.
in it, right? And if
Right.
it had 3 sugars or 4 sugars, it wasn't sweet enough,
Wow.
right? So once I started to say that, the sugar is killing me, right?
Right.
Um, I need to cut down on the sugar, right? And it was hard. So ultimately, I started drinking that tea with 5 sugars.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, I started to put 4 sugars in.
Mm-hmm.
And then after a while, I started to put 3 or 2 sugars in, until now I drink tea with no sugar in it. But that's me, and that's much later. It didn't
Right.
happen from one day to the next. This is
Right.
years later, right?
Right.
But my point is, I'm the same guy who didn't like to drink tea unless it had 6 sugars in it.
Right.
So I'm the same person. It's the same tea. I mean, I don't drink it with milk anymore, but it's the
Mm-hmm.
same tea. But I have trained my palates over time to want less and less sugar. Now, if you put 2 sugars in it, it'll kill me. I feel like, oh my
Mm.
God, like, my family hates the fact
Right.
that, you know, like if anything got sugar in it, I'd be like, no, 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 like it's the devil, you know what I mean? But
Right.
that's because I used to be such a sugar maniac. I used to come to the New African Deli breakfast, lunch, and dinner and drink Coca-Cola. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Black people like Pepsi, but I
Yes.
like Coca-Cola, right? So I used to drink Coca-Cola for breakfast, lunch,
Mm.
and dinner every day.
Mm.
3 to 4 times a day I drink until my body just shut down one day. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And that's how it goes.
So did you
So
used to be a lot heavier?
yeah.
Wow.
So I'm probably 175 now. My heaviest I was probably like 215, 220.
Mm-hmm.
I was much heavier. And
Okay.
even in that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when I started to lose the weight, I felt an insecurity, right?
Mm.
Because I'm gonna tell you, because in the black community, if you start losing weight, something wrong with you.
That's true.
You got that stuff, you
Right.
sick,
Right.
don't get too skinny. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But you really
Yep.
losing fat, which is toxic. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And
Mm-hmm.
no one else does that but black people. You know what I mean?
Right.
So once I started to lose, 10, 20 pounds, I used to hear from other people that other people were saying, what's wrong with Shombay? Like he looking sick, he getting sick.
Mm.
But in actuality, I was becoming the healthiest I had ever been.
Right.
But it was hurting me because I didn't want to hear those things, because I was
Right.
already battling with not eating all of this sugar or meat
Mm-hmm.
or dairy or, so I was
Mm-hmm.
already having my own internal battle. So now I'm dealing with this external battle of people thinking something is wrong with me just because I'm losing this excess weight.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's not in our culture. Like exercise is really not, and now it's kind of,
Right.
starting to be, wellness and health. Veganism is big nowadays, but from the beginning to now, it has never really been in our culture to exercise and to eat healthy, and you know what I mean, and
Right.
to to take care of yourself, right?
Mm.
So, sisters want to be thick, and that's great because they have a different body composition than other people. But a
Mm.
lot of times that thick really be fat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's just the thing.
Mm. All right. We are back with Brother Shombay.
Yes,
Shombay, brother.
sir.
I have a chiropractor who's also holistic, named Dr. Jefferson. She used to be in Teaneck. Now she's in Monroe, New York. And she used to tell me like if you eat cereal first thing in the morning, no matter how good you think that cereal is, if it got a little bit of sugar in it, the first thing you're doing is putting sugar in your body. And I was saying like, well, that's just a little bit of sugar. And then my wife, when I was eating a little something with sugar, she go, and I was like, I can't have no sugar. So like, is a little bit of sugar that bad for you?
Well, that's a good question. Let me speak on the different. Um, so you said a couple of things in that question, right? So the reason why your doctor said that is because when we wake up in the morning, our body is restarting from its break, right? That's why you eat and break breakfast, right? Break fast, right?
Yes,
Breaking
sir.
your fast, right? So the first things that you put into your body are very, very important, right? Because it kind of dictates, the course of how your body is going to function for the rest of the day. So that's what I believe that she meant when she said that, because you should always start your day off with water, right? Room temperature water. And that's simply because water helps everything to flow in your body. I'll explain it. It puts oxygen. Now, remember, you just come from resting, hopefully 7-8 hours, right? So now you're just restarting your engines, restarting your body, right?
Right.
So your body needs all of the things that it needs to be able to function on an optimal level starting the day, right? So that water, that H2O, that it pushes oxygen into your body. It gives your body electrolytes. It helps to push the toxins out of your body that were sitting dormant during the time you were sleeping. That's why when you wake up, hopefully you use the bathroom when you wake up, right? You urinate, and hopefully you defecate as well, right? Because those are all toxins that are sitting in your body that you want to push out, right? So with that being said, let's just say we have a toilet bowl, right? And the toilet bowl doesn't have any water in it, and you flush the toilet bowl. Where does the stuff go?
Right.
Where does it go? It goes nowhere because it needs the water to flush it down, right? So your body is the same way. It needs to be hydrated. It needs to be lubricated. Your joints and your muscles need to be lubricated. You send oxygen to your muscles, electrolytes, air, everything. It pushes toxins out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you really should be drinking room temperature water in the morning. That should really be the first thing that you do. Some people, I advocate not even to eat breakfast in the morning, right? And I'll tell you why. But but if you do eat breakfast in the morning, it should be like some fruit, right? Something light, some fruit where you have sugar in it, but it's a natural sugar.
Okay.
You understand? and maybe even a toast, a wheat toast, fruit, some tea, something that's very light on your body. You know what I mean? Because like I said, you just breaking your fast. It's just like the brothers here, right? So after when you break your fast after Ramadan or something like, you may start with dates, right? Or right, because it's light, it's natural sugar. Dates is natural sugar, right?
Right.
And it's light, right?
Okay.
It's not very heavy. So that's the reason why I believe, I'm not sure if it's a cultural thing or, if there has a cultural significance, not a cultural thing, but a cultural
Right.
significance. But I know biologically and nutritionally it's done as it makes sense to me because it's filled with natural sugar and it's very light. You want to say something, Brother Warner?
Yeah, just that water along with dates and so forth. That's recommended because it is
Right.
light on your digestive system, and some stuff that we eat otherwise, like it shocks your body
Right.
in different types of ways, And in the morning, it's good, like you said, with health.
Right.
Me, I got to get better with that. That's why when it
Right.
comes time, I'm going to commend you, brother, for so much that I see you doing. I ain't like in your circle, but I've been around to see you from a distance.
Right.
And your actions I observe. It's not all of what you say, from things you do with the stuff dealing with Kwanzaa, the running those types of functions, to the things you even doing with the youth. You ain't discussed none of that yet, but you do things with a lot of the young children in the community.
Right.
And then you went to the library.
People
need questions, get connected with cultural aspects. You there, and as far as health is concerned, I know this much, like even me, I struggle with the sweet part, because and it's bad. I'm speaking about myself, plain and simply, that is bad. It's even teachings pertaining to that a lot of us, we're like the fish that see the bait. We don't see the hook. The pleasure principles.
Right.
And they know that. They know that a lot of us, we'll know something bad for us, but because it gives us a feeling or a pleasurable effect, we'll do it anyway. It's like if loving it is wrong, we don't want to be right. I just wanted to say that part about changing eating habits and so on, and changing certain behaviors to get focused and go in a particular direction in life.
That's right.
And I see you doing that, brother. You doing it pretty well. I've been observing. But that's all I want.
I appreciate that. But I still have my struggles too. We all do. The thing is to identify it. You're identifying. We're identifying, right? We're raised in a society, a capitalistic society that makes billions and billions of dollars, all for the detriment of people's health or lack thereof, right?
That's right.
So billions of dollars are made from the pharmaceutical companies for you to be able to be on medications. Billions of dollars are made from the insurance companies, from the hospitals and doctors, and this is a billion dollar machine that they're fueling through from us, with us being sick. So I understand you taking responsibility, but I try to tell people not to be so hard on themselves, because you're just one person, and we're fighting a machine, right? Well, this is what I mean. We're taught in our culture, and even outside of our individual cultures, health is really not pushed. What's pushed is taste. And most taste is just sweet stuff, sugar or salt, just like I said, right? Or fried. Let's not forget about things that are fried as well, right? So that's what's advocated. So we don't necessarily, as you all know, Elijah Muhammad came out with a book in the 1930s or the 60s, called How to Eat to Live. And that's really the concept. We don't necessarily eat to live. We eat for taste. Right. We eat to get full. We eat to be satisfied emotionally.
Yes.
When in reality, we should eat for the nutritional value. right? So that's another thing. So
Wow.
and just think about all the commercials. You know, we're bombarded with commercials
That's right.
of Taco Hell and White
McDonald's,
Casket, you
White
know,
Castle.
Murder
Yeah.
King, and all of
And
these fast food industries, right? You rarely see an Apple commercial or
Oh.
orange commercial, right? Or avocado and kale
Oh,
commercial,
wow. Yeah.
right? All of the healthy foods don't have commercials
Right.
because naturally, I don't need to sell you, um, an apple. Your body
Mm.
naturally will want it, but I have to sell you something that's not good for you, right? I have to sell you something.
what's your take on going to the supermarket and you got fruit sitting up there, and then they got fruit over here that says organic?
Mm.
Well,
What's your take on that part?
Good question.
well, organic is right. So we're talking about the FDA, right? FDA. So
Yeah.
everything is trigonometry, right? So
Mm.
organic in reality only means that the soil, allegedly, we have to allege it that this is true as well,
Right.
but it just means that the soil that they use to grow these fruits haven't been tampered with in the past 7 years, right? That's what organic means, right? So let's just say that that's true, right? So meaning with pesticides and herbicides and all of that stuff. Now, if that's so, then that's great. But once again, because of the industry and the machine that they're trying to feed, they make all the organic foods much more pricier, right? Organic
Yeah.
produce, right? They make it much more pricey. So eating organic is great. Do I believe 100% of the time that it's all 100% organic? No, because I know the people that I'm dealing with and they
Mm.
lie all the time,
Mm.
right?
Hmm.
But if it is, then that's great. And if you can afford it, let's do it. Even
Mm.
if you can't, you should try to do it, incorporate it some of the times. Maybe, once a week you'll buy some organic apples or organic bananas or whatever. I mean, ShopRite sells organic bananas for like 65 cents a bunch, Um, so, and that's very affordable,
Mhm.
right? But other than that, what I would say is just buy, even if it's not organic, buy fruits and vegetables and just wash them. Just try to wash
Mm.
them. They have products that you could get online, um, in certain health food stores that you could spray on it or put in a solution, a natural solution that can help get some of the pesticides off. Just do your research and search, go on Amazon or Google or whatever, and put fruit cleaner, fruit pesticide cleaners, and they'll have some natural products that's out there that some companies make that'll help you buy produce when you buy produce that's not organic, but you can still kind of clean them off and make them better.
And what I've found from some of my European coworkers is that in a lot of these other areas outside of the inner cities of New Jersey and probably all over, because I know down south too, there's a lot of farms. And they go there, like we went one Saturday to a Fairfield farm, I think it was. And it was like you couldn't get in, they was turning people back. So I'm like, oh, that's how y'all doing this.
Well, that's another good statement because let's just start with New Jersey, like you said, right? And this is,
Mhm.
I would assume, I can't assume, well, I can't assume, but let's just assume this is similar in most places. Every Tuesday in Patterson, they have an organic uh, um what do we call it?
Like
A
Farmers
farmer's market. A
right.
farmer's market.
farmers
A
yeah.
farmer's market Tuesday over by 72 Hamilton Street,
Mm.
Patterson, which is downtown, right? And that usually goes from, I think, April or May until October. So it just ended, right? In Inglewood, the farmers market
Hmm.
is every Thursday,
Okay.
right? in Teaneck, the farmers market is every Friday, and Fort Lee is every Tuesday as well. My point is, when I was speaking earlier about educating yourself, these are the things that we need to find out where these farmers markets are, because they're really more closer than we actually think.
Yes.
Like right in Patterson, they're there and they've been there probably for the last 5 years, right? They come on Tuesdays, and these other places. So we have to find out where these things are, because when you're talking about in the cities, you're talking about food deserts. You're talking about places where intentionally by design, you can rarely find healthy food, healthy restaurants,
That's
healthy,
right.
you know what I mean? Let me tell you something. I drink almond milk, right? I've been drinking almond milk for a long time, and I would always get my almond milk from, out, I'll just say it like this. We in New Jersey. So I would always get my almond milk from like Paramus, right? I remember one time I got almond milk from the C-Town on Madison Avenue in Patterson, and my stomach turned. Like I had diarrhea for like a couple of days. So what I found out, and what I knew already, but we find out that even some of the things that are more healthier for you, they send some of the almost expired stuff and the stuff that's not grade A to the inner cities, intentionally by design. And the thing is, sometimes people think that when we say things like this, we're being conspiracy theorists and all of this thing. And it's really not. If you just do a Google search, right? and their books that'll tell you from medical apartheid on down, and they'll tell you that they intentionally do these things in Black and poor communities, right, to not only deteriorate the health of the community, but to also to fuel that that health disparity, right, to fuel the consumption of prescription drugs and all of these other things that wreck our body. So it's intentional and it's by design, and it's not a theory. It's definitely a conspiracy, but it's not a theory. It's in full practice.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we have to combat that. We have to combat that. So we have to, now with Facebook and Instagram and all these social medias and other people, you just find out where the farmers market is. Find out where the farm is, or whatever the case may be. Because New Jersey has a lot of farms. Like you said, New York State has a lot of farms. Pennsylvania has a lot of farms. But you may not even have to travel far out somewhere. Like farmers markets often come one day a week to the inner cities during like the spring and early fall months. Spring through early fall months, to sell their products. You know what I mean?
You had partially answered, maybe totally answered one question, because you were talking about, I want something sweet or I want something bitter or salty, right? And I'm like, but I want something crunchy, right? Crunchy and warm. And then you said the fried. So like my thing is like, can I get something vegan that's like tastes like that? You know what I'm saying?
Sure,
because
of course
like
you can.
Huh?
We make fried or like mushrooms all the time, which mushrooms have a thick texture that kind of tastes like meat. I mean, kind of bites like meat. And cauliflower, you know what I mean? I love like cauliflower bites, right? So there's
How is eggplant? Is the eggplant good?
the eggplant is great. You know what I mean? So you have wheat flour, you have spelt flour, you have kamut flour, you have different types of flour as opposed to white flour that you can, and then you have olive oil, you got avocado oil, you got sunflower oil, you got all of these different much lighter oils that can get the same job done for with a little more, health appeal towards it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
We use a lot of olive oil, and my wife's uncle, he was a what they call it, a viralist. I can't think of what they call it, but it's working with viruses and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
For like 40 years, and he
like
never
a
got
virologist,
sick.
virologist,
And he never got sick. So he said that every day he takes a spoonful of olive oil And he said, and then he takes a Q-tip, puts some in his nostrils, like that, both sides of the Q-tip. And he said that kills the COVID. That's what he said. Now I know that's probably the COVID that they say we all have in us. I don't know about any new form or anything like that, but I've been using that a lot, the olive oil.
See, so here's the thing. The further we get away from nature, the worse our health becomes, right? So if you was somebody who have roots in America and your people come from the South, you know, more so back in those times, those people had remedies. They used to go out into the bush and go get something, or you know what I mean? Or if they ate meat, they killed the meat today and ate it later that day. It wasn't processed, it wasn't preserved, it wasn't all of that stuff. They ate way more vegetables and they lived longer, right? You didn't hear about slaves catching you know, high blood pressure, diabetes, stroke, pancreatic cancer, colon cancer, all of the things that we have now, right? So, but they still ate meat, right? But they didn't eat it as often.
Okay.
Right? And they ate it fresh, meaning like if you killed it today, they ate it today, right? They ate way more vegetables. And even though they were given the worst of the meat, right? But they ate way more vegetables and they had natural remedies that they still had here from Africa. And if you have people with roots in the Caribbean, it's the same thing. You understand? They had some type of bitters, some type of ointment, some type of salve. The farther we get away from nature, the worse our health becomes. And that's the key. That's what I think we're not seeing, right? But in this society, it's connected to convenience.
Right.
So we're working, so we don't really want to cook. So we're gonna go out and order out all the time.
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
So now we not only do we order out, we don't even go get it no more. So now I'm not even getting in my car and driving to the spot or walking to the spot, you know, using some type of exercise or energy. Now I'm calling Uber Eats to go get it for me.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I'm gonna send them to go get it for me and bring it to me.
Right.
And I've expelled no calories. I've burned no calories to get my food, but I'm intaking 1,000 calories off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the more
I be dropping my head.
Yeah, the more this convenience comes into our life, the worse off our health is.
Yeah, because like I remember, well, first of all, he's from, and my wife's they're from Barbados, so they got a lot of those remedies and stuff. And and my father's side, well, both sides are from the South, but North Carolina, I remember going down every summer, and in one yard there's grapevines, there's peach tree, apple tree, you know, you could just you know what I'm saying? So that was always a beautiful experience. You know, Saadique, anything you want to say, brother?
Nah, man, you know, I'm just listening, man, because this is the type of language that Shombay share with me all the time, you know what I mean? So I'm kind of used to hearing him talking like this, you know what I mean? But, you know.
Yeah, I want to add too.
Yes,
I went on 2 trips, one to Jamaica, and then I went on Hajj to Mecca. When I went to Jamaica, my body flushed out. I got to be specific. A lot of the food that I was eating here, as soon as I started eating their food, my body kicked it right out.
Wow.
Right.
When I went to Hajj, the exact same thing. I was also on Hajj. You know, before I went, I was dealing with pre-diabetes, being diagnosed with pre-diabetic.
Right.
Went to Hajj, no signs of it. Over there 2 weeks, none, no kind of symptoms, no nothing. Came back here, and also I was reading a book, and you know, I know Shombay probably is fully aware of it, that even our meats, they're screwing up here with the biotics, what is it, steroids, and then many other things that they put in this. We can even we want to say that meat is halal, some of the meats here, but a lot of it, the way that it's being handled is not even.
Right. So the thing is, right, brother Warner. So the thing is, so everything is about the almighty dollar. It's all
I
about
need to charge it.
capitalism. So when you're talking about capitalism, you're talking about capitalizing and getting that money, the quick flip, the quick profit. So, you know, for a chicken or a cow or whatever the case may be to grow, that's just, let's just say for an example, you know, I have a child, and your child to grow from infancy to like 5 years old, it takes 5 years,
Yeah, Miss
right?
Long.
So these companies, they don't want to wait that long
Yeah, she coming right back.
because they want to flip it and sell it. They want to sell it and come back. You know what I mean? Make more. So what they do is they put antibiotic steroids in the chickens and the cows and all of that stuff.
Right.
Like you said, to so they can get fatter sooner, right? So they can sell it faster, so they can sell them. Then they also feed them. They feed them like soy. So when you remember mad cow disease, E. coli, mad cow disease, and all that,
Right.
that came because they were feeding cows soybeans instead of feeding them their regular grass. You know, cows eat grass. You know what I mean? So just like us, when we're off our regular diet, that's when we start getting these cancers and these diseases. You understand? So the same thing happened to the cows. The cows got off their diet, so they started getting these cancers and these diseases. But the reason why they feed them that is so that they could fill the cows up faster, and it's cheaper. It's cheap.
Right.
So it's about that money. So that's why and this is an industrialized first world country. So that's why when you go to these other countries, when you go to the Caribbean, when you go to different places, they don't have that monster machine in place, right? So if you go to Jamaica, you'll see most of the people there still eating, they're cooking the food. They cut the goat or the chicken or whatever right there. They cook it in the pot right there. You understand? The vegetables, they take that right off the tree and they're eating right there. You understand? There's no supermarket. There's no middleman processing the food. So that's why that food went right through you, Warner, as opposed to sticking to your intestines and sticking to your colon and fermenting and, you know, and getting, you know, horrible up in you. So with that being said, because I think we only got 7 more minutes, it's been a great conversation, brothers. I just want to say that we like to advocate exercise, right?
All right, thank you.
Excellent. We want you to try to eat well, plenty of water, get plenty of rest, right? Because rest is a part that's really left out. In our busy lives, we leave rest out, but you need to get 7 to 8 hours, right? Because your body has to recharge, your brain has to recharge, it has to calibrate itself. You know what I mean? If you exercise, your body, your muscles build up when you're resting, right? Your organs need to rest. Your brain, like I said, needs to rest. Everything needs to rest, right? So if you're getting 2 and 3 hours of sleep and you're getting older and older, you're going to be in poor health. Your immune system needs to recharge itself, right? So you need to rest, you need to drink water, you need to exercise, and I believe you need to get some type of spiritual aligning, whatever it is, because we're not just physical beings, we're spiritual beings.
True indeed.
Right. So whether it's, whatever it is, meditation, religion you're in, that's fine. But also meditation, breathing, going within yourself, getting some type of peace and clarity from a spiritual level within yourself to be able to, align your levels to be able to deal with this rough world, because we know this can be a very cruel world out here. So we want to be as healthy as possible so that we can survive for ourselves and our children and our families.
True indeed. I found myself, at the school I work at, one sister came through, started doing yoga. So we're doing a lot of yoga now.
Right.
And it's like, I did a little something every once in a while. But that I said, wow, like this is God. Like you coming in the school system, we doing yoga. And then another time we do gym, like we're on Zoom on Wednesdays. And then that teacher start working out. And I'm like, this is good. It's like, even if I didn't want to do it or didn't plan it, it's coming. But I realized like all of this has to be part of my lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah.
And it is a lifestyle. I believe there's a school somewhere. You can Google it. They incorporated meditation. It was a black school too, in the inner city somewhere. They incorporated meditation into their school curriculum, and the children did so much better. Right? They did so much better. So, like I said, the further we get away from nature, the worse off we get. So getting back to nature is just nature is natural, right? The basics. You know what I mean? So we're talking about meditation. We're talking about breathing. We're talking about healthy eating, fruits and vegetables. We're talking about water. We're talking about the sunlight. I don't know how I could leave the sunlight out. We're talking about getting out into the sun. And another thing that's so sad about us as Black people, I read a study the other day, you can Google it as well, that said that 80% of the people in Spain that had COVID-19 were also vitamin D deficient. Right now, vitamin D comes from the sun, right? And that helps your immune system. It helps your bones. It helps build calcium, all of that stuff. And one thing that's extremely sad about our people is we don't like to be in the sun because we don't want to get darker, right? I don't want to get black. Like, get out the sun. I don't want to get black. You understand? And we put sun, I mean, our sisters do it especially. We put sunscreen on ourselves all the time, like, and they'll beat you up if you say not to do it. But
that's right.
Let me answer a question. Like, when we was in slavery from sun up to sundown, did our people put sunscreen on themselves? Man, So get in that sun, and we got to stay in the sun longer than other people because we're darker, right? So you should stay in that sun, and that sun helps to build immunity in us. It helps to build up. And look how many people now are vitamin D deficient. You go to the doctor be like, oh, you vitamin D deficient.
Straight up.
Right? Number one, because they're changing the levels. Number two, because when we live in the Northeast, the sun is not out as much, anymore as it used to be. You definitely got to get that sun. You definitely have to do all of those things. Prayer, meditation, I advocate for all of that. The closer we can get to our spiritual self, the closer we can get to our creator, the closer we get to nature, the better off we'll be. And I'm talking quick only because we only got a couple of minutes, but let me say this too. I appreciate you, Brother Warner. I have had a youth program, young boys advocacy program that I did for 2 years in Patterson, and 1 year in Newark, but it got stopped by the COVID. So as soon as this thing clears up, we're gonna advocate. We do the young boys enrichment program, and once again, and myself and Brother Saadique. Next time we're gonna bring you on, Brother Warner. We did a young boys retreat. I think when was that, Brother Saadique? About 2-3 months ago.
Almost like 2 months ago.
All right, we are back with Brother Shombay, and off camera, so to speak. We was talking about giving brothers their flowers while they're here. And one thing I talk with a lot of people, and they act like we're not the leaders. They're like, yo, why don't they do this? Why don't the government do that? Why don't the preachers do this? And I'm like, we're the leaders now. We're the elders. We're the ones. We're the masters. Like, each one of us has been through experiences like we spoke about earlier with the resurrection. We have went down and we have came back up. We've learned a lot. So why are we looking outside for everyone? And I'm glad to be around brothers who are all leaders. We've all grown. We might have knew each other since we were younger, but now we've all grown to some level of mastery and mastership in what we do. And that's why I appreciate you as well, Brother Shombay, and we have you. So we want to definitely make sure that we get a little bit more information out for today. But the main thing I want is about the entrepreneurial aspects, your products, your website, so that the people can find you.
That's right.
Right, definitely. Real quick before we go into that, I just want to totally agree with you. totally agree with you. I've known you, as we spoke about earlier, for always being involved in something positive or trying to push or promote positivity to the world and to the throughout the community, and pretty much trying to, this is what I say, you know, uphold the image of the black man as a positive and a creative man. So brothers who, you know, do that always, you know, have an endearing place in my heart and always connect with me and everyone on this call, as well as yourself. Like I said, I know you from doing that, you know, being, you know, making music and being involved in the poetry. And I believe at one time you might have had a magazine or
Right.
online magazine
Yes,
or
sir.
right. But we've been following each other for some time. And what I've seen is you always try to push, not just try, you always had the intention on pushing culture from a positive aspect. Brother Abdul Malik, I've known him from the cultural center, and I always see the brother as a positive brother. And the brother does hip hop, but he pushes positive hip hop with a message, hip hop with a focus, hip hop with an inspiring focal point to teach the youth and, you know, and teach the community, you know, positive notions as well as the dangers of many of the things that we've all been involved with because of the war on drugs, the war on the inner city communities, and you know, and he always speaks against negativity and moving forward, you know, positive, and we need more of that. And that doesn't mean that we're not fallible. It doesn't mean that we're perfect. It doesn't mean
Right.
that we don't have shortcomings. It doesn't mean that we don't have vices, any of those things.
That's
But what it does mean is that we're trying to make a conscious effort to put positivity into the world,
right.
into a world that
Right.
seems to be going so negative.
Right.
And you know, brother Saadique, like I said, we were in the same organization together. You know, that brother was a little older than me, so I always looked at him as someone that I can come to, you know, who had loads of wisdom, you know. Um, and he's been the same way always. So, you know, it's just, you know, great to be in a fraternity of brothers who just want to be able to be a part of a positive change or a positive um, outlook on our communities, man. So I just wanted to say that, you know, before we move forward. And so, you know, so as a fitness trainer, you can always contact me on ShombayTheTrainer.com. I have a website, ShombayTheTrainer.com. It'll tell you about the programs. I mean, I train people on Zoom. I train people in person.
I like that.
I train people sometimes, you know, with the pandemic, I have some clients who do not want to come to the gym. So I come to them in their garage or their backyard or whatever the case may be. But I primarily train in the gym on Zoom. And now I just have an app. I have an online app that whether you are in Texas or Tucson, Arizona, you could train with Shombay the Trainer. And it's all about forward progression. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Everything that we always do is always about wanting to take things to the next level, right? And everyone here, you know, is an advocate of that. Whatever it is that I've seen brothers do, they've always taken things to the next level, right? So that's just a natural progression for me in the fitness industry. As well as Instagram is at Shombay the Trainer, at Shombay the Trainer. Facebook is Shombay the Trainer. Um, you can email me at rbgtrainer@gmail.com or Shombay the Trainer at gmail.com, as well as I spoke about the website. So we have products, right? So I've manufactured myself an all natural product. It's called the Power Greens. It's like a protein power green, all natural, organic ingredients. that I really think people should definitely go to my website, go to Facebook, go to Instagram, inbox me and purchase, right? So the power greens, right? We have the power greens, right? We have organic stevia in it, which is a sweetener, right? But it's organic green stevia. It's green stevia, right? So this is 16 ounces, right? They don't look that big, but remember, powder is very, loosely dense, right? So this 16, it'll last you about 45 days. So I recommend 1 teaspoon per day, right? And you could put that in water, you could put it in juice, you could put it on salads, you could put it in your oatmeal, you can put it in almost in everything and anything. So the ingredients are spirulina. If you heard of spirulina, it's an algae that comes out of the sea. It's a superfood because it has tons of vitamins and minerals in it: vitamin E, vitamin K, vitamin E. I said E already. Vitamin E, vitamin K, vitamin A, vitamin C. Excuse me. How can I? Magnesium, potassium, manganese. I also have chlorella in it, spirulina, wheatgrass. If you ever been to a health food store, they charge you like $5 or $7 for a little wheatgrass shot, right? Which is great for your immune system. I also have spinach in it, which is very high in protein. So you remember when Popeye, right? They'll tell you, you can't get protein or muscles unless you eat meat. But you remember they always put messages in the cartoons and in the TV shows. Popeye didn't eat a big ham hock to get muscles. He ate spinach, right? Because spinach for a leafy green is very high in protein, right? So I've got chlorella, spirulina, wheatgrass, barley grass, spinach, and organic green stevia. Now I gotta say that and highlight that because you have stevia out here, but it's white. Anytime you see something that's white, it ain't right. White ain't right. White sugar, white salt, white rice, white stevia. None of that stuff is good for you. Why? Because it's highly processed and is stripped of its nutrients, is stripped of its nutritional value, and it really has no benefit for you. But the reason why they sell it to you is because it's extremely cheap, right? So this is why you go to the Chinese store and you can get a whole big pot of rice and some chicken for $2, $2.50, because the rice is cheap. You understand? Whatever you go, they give you a whole bunch of white rice because white rice is extremely. You get a big bag of rice for like $3 or something like that. It's very cheap to produce. You know what I'm saying to you? So you want stuff with color. You want to eat food with color, right? So you want to eat your greens. You want to eat tomatoes, right? You want to eat green peppers, red peppers, right? And you want to, you want to eat kale, spinach. You want to eat things with colors: mushrooms, berries, strawberries, raspberries, high in antioxidants, right? So this product that I have, the Power Green, right, is very, a lot of people talk about what's so big right now. What we've been using since I'm gonna tell you, my uncles was Rastas in the 80s, right? So I was very much exposed to
ITAL food.
right, ITAL food, vegetarianism, and Irish moss. We called it Irish moss,
Irish
right? But they
moss,
call
yeah.
it sea moss now, right? They
Right.
call it sea moss. Same thing, right? But the Power Greens has so much benefits in it, like sea moss has, and even more because of the amount of ingredients. It's not processed. It's just in its powdered form, and it's all natural ingredients. And I manufacture it myself. I sell it myself. It's good for weight loss, and it's good for vitamin and mineral deficiency, to build you up, right? So you can go
That's
to my
excellent.
website for that.
Mm-hmm.
We also sell T-shirts, right? T-shirts. Many of you guys, right? So that's the lion. This is the lion T-shirt,
Yes.
right? So Shombay means he who walks like a lion, right?
Peace.
So this is the reason why, you know, my logo is the
Yeah,
lion,
that's
right?
right.
That fearless lion. Even though the lion is not he not plant-based, you know what I mean? Still, you know, connected to me. So I got the hoodies coming out. They should be in next week. We got another, the Wellness Revolution is now hoodie, because the wellness revolution is now, right? So we want to push this wellness movement. And, you know, you could sign up for training with me personally. Like I said, you could sign up for training with me anywhere in the world on Zoom, or you could sign up for training with me anywhere in the world on my new Fitness Dan Shombay The Trainer app that I have out already. And you can reach me on any one of my social medias, Instagram, Facebook, email, my website, and get in contact with me.
Your
Right.
website is amazing. I just checked it out.
Oh yeah, thank
Yeah,
you,
man. That ain't
thank
no
you.
basic website. It's very nice. I like the graphics. You got the
Yeah,
video on there
yeah,
working out.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
you see me, Cypher Cam. I just signed up, and
Okay,
I bought the vitamin C. I'll be
okay,
back.
okay,
I'll be back for the 40
okay,
for the leafy. But I
okay,
just
okay.
because
Oh yeah, I forgot to promote the vitamin C. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The
yeah,
vitamin.
because I said if I don't do it now, you know, things happen. You mean to do it, and then you don't. So I said, let me support right now while it's on
Thank
my
you,
mind.
brother.
Yeah, you're welcome, brother.
Thank you.
But I'll definitely
Oh
be
yeah,
back.
I see it right here.
Yeah, and I'll come back for the shirt too.
Oh,
Yes,
you can't see
sir.
it. You can't see it. You can't.
Yeah,
It's too
yeah,
bright,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But yeah.
Nah, I can't see. I appreciate it. We're gonna ship that right off to you.
All right, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
welcome. But yeah, that's what we all got to do. You know, I just
right,
happen to have the money at the moment, that
right,
much.
right,
So.
right,
Yeah.
right. So I'm glad you say that, because during this pandemic, right, there's
Mhm.
simple things that we can do to try to stay as healthy as possible and keep our immune system strong, right? So
Yes.
we're moving into the darker months now, right? So
Hmm.
it's dark already, and it's 4:30, 4:50. So what we can do, like I said, is drink more water,
Mm.
get more rest,
Right.
eat more vegetables, um, meditate more, pray more, yoga, exercise more, you know what I mean? And try to stay more positive. Remember, arguing and fighting and negativity puts a strain on your immune system as well.
Amen.
Right. That puts a strain on your immune system as well. And that's how you know we're spiritual beings, right? Because, you know, not only does what we ingest put a, you know, either help or hurt our immune system, but our state of mind helps or hurts our immune system as well.
Right.
When we're
That's right.
happy, that helps to, you know,
Hmm.
because we produce serotonin, and that helps to boost our immune
Hmm.
system. And when we're sad and depressed and negative and arguing, that helps to
Right.
stymie our immune system as well. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So, you
Right.
know, right. Try to
Yeah,
stay
like
healthy.
the creator told me, like, you know, as an answer to my prayers to definitely not in a hasty way, but to increase everything, just like you just said. You know, I don't think that should be underestimated. You know, like the water intake, the sleep, but then also the prayer, the meditation,
Right.
creative visualization. If we don't increase and all this stuff is coming at us, then it's going to be hard for us to fight it off. But
And,
go ahead.
no, and let me tell you something else too.
Hmm.
A perception that I used to have in my younger days that many people may still have now, that I must say, just because you may not eat meat,
Hey, Miss Brown.
just because you may meditate and pray, just because you may fast, doesn't mean or doesn't equate to you being soft,
Right.
right? We want you to train, you know, you have strength to knock somebody block off if you have to, in
Right.
self-defense. You know what
Right.
I mean, brother Abdul
Right.
Malik? In
Right. That's
self-defense,
right. That's
right?
right.
To defend your family, to defend
That's
yourself,
right.
right? We advocate, we not just working out to look good, right? Right. We want to work out to build your muscles, to be able to defend yourself, to be mobile and agile, and also to be able to get away if you have to get away. If you have
That's
to get
right.
away,
Right.
and
Right.
you can't run for more than 30
Mhm.
seconds, we finished.
That's right.
Right. But if you're conditioning and exercising yourself, you'll be able to get away if you have to get away.
Mhm.
You'll be able to endure that battle if you have to endure that battle. And we also advocate combat, martial arts, and firearm safety as well, in self-defense and in defense
Amen.
of your family and your community.
Amen. That
Right.
martial arts, yeah, just knowing, I know some martial arts, but just knowing what I know makes you so confident that I don't have to walk around like I'm hard. I just know that if somebody comes near me, I can defend myself. And
Right.
that gives me peace of mind right there. You
Right.
know?
And if you're able,
And part of that is the fool could never play the part of a wise man, but a wise
Mm-hmm.
man could anytime play the part of the fool. You know,
True.
when we underestimate people and we judge people by appearance,
Right.
sometimes we create our own problems.
That's
right,
right.
right,
Don't
right.
start none, won't be none.
Don't start nothing, won't be nothing.
That's right.
So,
Try to spread love, right?
right,
True.
right. We try to spread love, but
That's
and
it.
sometimes we have to defend ourselves in the name of self-love and self-preservation.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's
So,
right.
because I don't want you to
Right.
take me up off of here. I don't want you to harm me.
Right.
I don't want you to
That's
be
right.
able to take me away from my family and take me
Right.
away from my community
That's
and
key.
take me away from the people
Key.
that I love. Right. So I have to
Mm-hmm.
defend myself, in the name of self-love. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Right.
don't go out and attack anyone, but we have to defend ourselves if we are attacked. Right.
Right.
So, it's just, the first, what they say, the first law of
First law of
self-preservation,
nature is
of nature,
self-preservation.
self-preservation.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right.
And I got a little understanding. It's my personal understanding of Jesus walking on water. It was just that if you are prayed up and you are doing the right things, you are connected with God and the ancestors, you can walk through a lot of things
Right.
and very easily. And I was on the beach in Wildwood and I'm walking and I was so mellowed out. I wasn't thinking about fighting or nothing. I look up, about 12 bloods was coming. And I just walked. I said, I can't have my head down because they're going to think I'm scared. So I just looked up and said, peace, brothers. He said, peace, OG. How you doing, OG? And I just walked
Right.
up. I wasn't even nowhere near getting like this. I wasn't in
Right.
my mind. So that's all I could do. And it worked.
Right. And right. Because you was just being your natural self, and you thought real quick, like, what should I do? I don't want no problems. I'm here on vacation.
Right.
You know what? Let me just walk through. And you had faith.
Right.
You have faith in yourself. You have faith in your creator. You had, and they
Right.
and they felt that.
Right.
They felt that. Like, oh, peace, OG. What's going on?
Yeah, that felt
Right.
good. I'll never forget that.
Right.
And not forgetting our people, as we
Yeah.
move up on any level, not
Right.
forgetting the people that haven't moved up yet.
Right.
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 Yeah.
And it's a certain thing of fulfillment. To me, like you were speaking about holistic, because holistic is being used in a lot of different terminologies with mental health, drug addiction, and a lot of different aspects of people being able to get tuned up or in tune with themselves, to have balance in the inside and self-esteem, self-worth, sense of purpose, all that
Right.
type of stuff, well rested and so on, be
Right.
holistically well-rounded within yourself. And I know too, like right now, the way that things is going in society, each individual need that. They need to get that handle on
Yes.
self, because there's so much that's going on in society
Yeah.
that as men,
Mm-hmm.
some of us, we can feel the energy,
Right.
when we come in the presence of each other, when we're
Right.
interacting with, and how we carry ourselves.
Yeah.
We can sense it, so it ain't nothing but love coming from me, but in that same aspect, we're men amongst men, so we want to try, and they say iron sharpens iron,
Right.
Right.
so that's
Right.
pretty much it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because you live in a time where anything can happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's true.
A lot of people always say being at the wrong place at the wrong time. But you know, I really don't believe in that. You know what I mean? Because you know, God had control. You know what I mean? He know what's gonna happen before you even know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? That's why they said God is the all-knowing, the all-seeing. You know what I mean? So whatever happened to you, you know, God permitted to happen. You know what I mean? For a reason. You know what I mean? So we cannot walk with fear. It's like, you know, Kamal dropped it. You know what I mean? He was walking. He seen some Crips, Bloods, whatever, and he was, you know, he was himself. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you know what Brother Shombay is showing us with the wellness is what I believe it's more about. It's about self and kind, like Elijah Muhammad said, self and kind. And we are for our people. That's like a natural, but being for yourself, man, you got to save self before saving others, as the Father
All right, sorry.
says.
All right, sorry about that, fellas.
That's okay, brother. So you got to save self before saving others. And like I teach children and a lot from the inner cities and some from the suburbs, but they want to prove something to somebody else all the time. And I'm like, develop yourself. You will attract girls to you. You attract friends to you, but work on yourself. And I think a lot of times the matrix we believe is, some say it's not real, but I say things are temporary, right? So if all these things are temporary and we concentrate on our meditation and ourself and our ancestors and our God and our health, like Brother Shombay is saying, we start to realize that if you don't pay attention to certain things, they will become a reality in your life.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you invite things, you pay a lot of attention to certain things, you're gonna invite them in your life. Some things you have to kind of build an aura or a cipher around you so that things will not even
I believe too,
come near.
like the pencil and the sword and the knife, whichever, it gets dull. So we have to sharpen up again, you know. And me personally, I'm at a point in my life where I know, like, you know, for me personally, I ain't pack a bag coming. I'm not gonna pack a bag leaving here. I'm not gonna be telling people, put this in my U-Haul truck. You know, I want to take this with me when I go. So there's certain things that, like the bucket list, that we want to do as men, you know, to leave here with some dignity, integrity, self-respect, and, you know, contributing. You know, to me, like Shombay was talking about, all of us doing different things. To me, that's the greater good. You know, the purpose and the mission is bigger than me. It's bigger than anybody that may be present at that time. It's bigger than all of us. It's for our babies.
That's
for
right.
Grandparents and grandchildren. So
the one thing they blocking us from is leaving a legacy. See, most of the Hollywood stars and all of that, especially they're not passing nothing down to a black boy, a black young man. Look at the Jacksons. You know what I'm saying? Where's the black boy? Where's Michael Jackson's son? You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you look at a lot of people, if you look at, what you call it, the one with the boy, girl, whatever. What's that basketball player? See, Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade,
block people out of my mind because I'm just like, but my point is the legacy. So like, health is a great legacy to pass down. Martial arts, everything that Shombay spoke of, because when we're going to the next level, if our children have what Shombay is talking about, they're gonna be good. You know what I'm saying? Have an advantage.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I try to.
I don't think we want to leave here with what we all know and not have passed it on to the other generations. You know, that would be sad.
Right. You have to. You have to. It's like I heard. It's like a credit score, right? It's like you got this 800 credit score, right? But you're not doing nothing with. You're not buying no house. You're not buying. You know, you're not purchasing anything. You know, you got a car, but you're not starting a business. You're not leveraging that great credit score. Some people will go for that credit score. Right. You have it and you're not doing anything with it. So it's the same thing. You have all this knowledge, all this information, all this insight. So you need to do something with it. You know, you have to pass it on. You have to be able to leverage that information to the community, because so that your children can benefit, your community can benefit, and in turn you will benefit because you passing on, what you know, right? I got a 825 credit score, but if I want to, you ask me, let's get into this business deal. I'm like, nah, because I don't want to mess up my credit, right? But what you got it for if you're not using it for nothing? Right? What's the use of all of this knowledge and information and understanding if you're not going to go out and use it, advocate for the community and your people for nothing, So what the brother Warner is saying is 100% correct. We have to put ourselves on the line to some extent, and the mayor of Newark always says he used to have these men's meetings that I love to go to every I don't know if it was the first Monday of the month, and their quote, their saying would be "hold the line." Right, so they got T-shirts that say "hold the line," and when during the men's meeting, when they say something and everybody chants back is "hold the line." You know what I mean? So we have to hold the line, right? We have to, we have to stand for something. We have to stand for our community. We have to stand for ourselves, stand for our culture. We have to hold the line.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because this society is such a, I want to say an envelope, a boundary pusher. They'll push you to boundaries that you never want to go to. They'll have you, I'm telling you, they'll have you doing some things that are totally contradictory to your morals, your values, your religion, your way of life. You know what I mean? And if you don't hold the line, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna be. We already know it. You're gonna be doing some stuff that would be compromising your manhood, right?
Yes, sir.
Compromising your sanity, compromising your dignity, compromising your self-esteem, compromising your self-worth. So you gotta hold the line. You know what I mean? That brother says that, out in North, brother Ras Baraka, which is a great, I think one of the best mayors in the country.
History,
And they always say that out there. He always says that, hold the line. So that's what we just trying to do. We just trying to hold the line, brother. And if it's a bunch of us out here holding that line, they can't get through the line. We're gonna keep it up.
That's right.
Yes,
sir.
And at the same time, it's very important to the people that's on the line with you. I mean, it's very important to surround yourself with people who have that same motivation, that same spirit. Because that's why me personally, I keep my circle very small. You know what I mean?
True.
Because I can reach out to a lot of cats that I knew, a lot of cats that I came up with. That's all good. But when it comes to producing, when it comes to family, when it comes to morals, my circle is very small, man.
Same here.
I don't know if that purposely happened, but it is. You know what I mean? Because everybody don't have that same spirit. Everybody don't have that same vision. It's like when I go around my old school cast, man, they talking stuff, man, from yesterday. You know what I mean? So I had to surround my circle. You know what I mean? So when I do be around the Warner, the Shombay, and the Kamal, whatever, you know what I mean? The language is different than, the cast that you came up with, man.
I'm laughing because I have went into brothers say, come on in, come on up. I come in, I feel like I'm in the 80s. I'm like, y'all drinking and smoking and blasting the music, go to Atlantic City 12 at night, y'all get ready to go where? Like, what's going on? And they get mad at me, like, nah, bro, I'm just, I got a family now, you know what I mean?
I
don't knock nobody. I don't knock nobody because we all human, but it's the same thing with where I come from. I couldn't live there no more. I had to come into the future, into the here and now, and grab more of what is based on reality as a man. I'm just yesterday and today. That's why I've been looking at a house. Possibly purchasing a house. This is me. It's my me.
Congratulations, brother.
That's right.
And it's like being focused, getting focused, staying focused, and not being ones that's like dribbling behind your back, in between your legs, trying to see who looking and all that, trying to show off with people. And ain't life, you know, we trying to score in the time we have to attain some things and do some things and enjoy life, not knocking nobody else. And some people, their level of maturity, I accept it, you know, that where they're at, you know, how they may look at you or whatever the case may be and judge you, whatever. You got to see that they're with you, but they're not where you're at.
Right.
Stand for me. You know, and it's not knocking nobody. It's not knocking nobody. It's knowing your circle, because it's important to know your circle. I'm gonna say this and shut up. My grandmother, she used to always tell me, she said, Ronnie, don't watch them people standing across the street, because you know they could be your enemies. She said the ones you gotta watch is the ones that stand next to you. That's not in a negative way.
Right.
But just saying, be aware of your circles. She said, because it ain't the ones across the street that could stab you in the back.
Right.
All
my brothers, just something like you said, they're not ready for the responsibility. Yeah. But that don't mean they can come on in my house and do what they want to do.
Intentionally or unintentionally, you know. There's certain things that we got to keep our hand close to our chest, like playing cards. You show me your hand, I'm gonna beat you. I show you mine, you gonna, you know. And that's our personal business that we ain't supposed to let everybody see our hand.
That's right.
You know, that's as men. You know, we got to keep our priorities straight. You know?
Well, that goes with the martial arts. That's the art of war. That's another subject. But you know, art of war is deception. Like everybody ain't supposed to know. You know,
those who are supposed to know will know.
Right.
Those who are supposed to be there will be there.
Right.
Okay.
You know, so like, you know what, brothers? I gotta sign off the conversation right now. I thank you. That y'all still going. That'd be great. I gotta sign off. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having this great bill. We need to do this often, or
anytime you want,
and meet in real life too. I have that. Meet in real life. Have breakfast. Have lunch, brunch, whatever.